Today I'll be doing this or hosting this event. Is the LBI coordinator. Without further ado, Christopher, kindly unmute yourself and take it from here.
So thank you so much, Larry, and then thank you to everyone else, including the facilitator William, for joining us for this session. So I would want to introduce William briefly so that we could take it away. So William is an HR professional who has expertise with talent management, talent acquisition. Currently, he's the L&D manager at Remoteli UK and also serves as a fractional HR lead consultant at JobLinkrr. And he loves Ghana Jollof a lot. And then he also believes that whatever you believe in, you can do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. William Geraldo to facilitate this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Hilary, as well. And thank you all for joining. I could see Rost here. I could see Samuel. I could see Dennis. I could see Doreen. I could see Osman.
Sorry to cut you in, William.
Sure.
Since you are having some network issues, I think due to the rain, I would prefer if you want to still have your video on, fine. But if you feel it's going to have any interruptions with the session, you could take it. You could turn your video off. But if you still want it on, it's fine. It's fine.
No worries. I'll turn it off after giving everyone a shout out for joining.
Okay.
I'm also seeing Naki here. I'm also seeing Sebastian, Jonathan, Bless. So I'm really happy to be here to have this discussion. Most importantly for us to have a better view of what it is like to navigate the job market. Due to my network connectivity, I'll have to turn my camera on and then do most of the presentation without my camera on. I hope you people forgive me for that. All right, so I'm going ahead to share my screen and then we could start. All right, so navigating the job market. What does this really mean? It could mean a lot of things, but most importantly, the overview for this discussion would be an introduction. We'll see what the current landscape is really like when it comes to the labor market. We'll also see some skills you could build. That's market-ready skills. We'll also look at why it's good to network your way into jobs. Job search strategy. We'll also look at internships and volunteering and get work. And then we'll also look at branding yourself. This one, I know a lot of people see settings. Yes, so look at what it means to have a personal brand. Some ways to look out for scams when it comes to jobs. And then why it is very, very important to upskill, reskill, even when you still have a job. And then, yeah, playing the long game. When it comes to the labor market, it's a game of chess. So you really need to learn how to play that game. So let me start. Yeah, the introduction bit, I just want you to know that the current job market is growing. It's never going to get younger. It's going to grow and it's still growing, given the fact that currently we have a very youthful population and then most of them are coming out of school. And so as much as you would want to know, the job market is going to be very, very competitive, and it already is. And you also need, most importantly, you also need to know where to look, and then most importantly, also how to look for them. Once you know where and how, it's 50% of your battle is done. The remaining will be left to obviously the hiring partners and all of those people will be in the interview room. But when you know your how and when you know your where to look for this information, we are good to go. And then I just want you to understand the brief overview of like the landscape, how it's currently looking. The informal sector still dominates the economy. usually about 80% of the workforce. And then the formal sector is the 20%, where a chunk of the few people are. So this is the most structured place with good career progression and benefits. And some key industries. This one is for people who like money. So education, I don't think, but for some key industries, healthcare, education, fintech, agriculture, construction, oil and gas, these industries really need a lot of people to come into those spaces. So there may be more, but for now, those I know of, oil and gas and IT, they are very leading employment sector. Pay a lot. And then the hotspot cities. So the regions that most of the jobs are there. So Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, and then Tamale have a lot of opportunities. I see some people good, all the time. But the thing is, they're also very good Kumasi, Takoradi, Tamale, and then other regions as well. But for hot. And what are some market-ready skills you should build? I think when it comes to market-ready skills, I've segmented them into three. Into main two, then certification. So digital skills, social media is all over the place. If you're able to learn social media marketing, that's a good thing. Data analytics is almost everywhere. I'm sure by this time it has become like a broken record. So data analytics is important. It's also important for businesses. So if you are looking at building a very market-ready skill, digital skill, I'll see data analytics. And there are a few places you can search. Coursera. So Coursera has some data analytics course, one from Google, and then I think there's one from IBM, and then there's one from Microsoft. So you can check them out. And UI UX too, we'll get some on Coursera, you get some on LinkedIn as well. And then software development. Software development is never changing. So if you are looking at becoming a front end, back end, full stack developer, you should go into it and you should really build that skill. And then now also there's a whole trend with AI. So AI engineers, AI content creators. The market is booming, especially when it comes to AI. So I'd also want to chip in that you should look for it for AI as well, whether be it an engineer or a content creator, whatever be the case, just try and leverage AI and in whatever field you are currently in. And then some soft skills. These are very important. You can have the hard skills, you can have the digital skills and all that, but if you do not have the people relation skills, it becomes difficult. So one thing you should know is to learn how to communicate. You should be someone who really knows how to solve problem. And by solving problem, it means being able to know what exactly the issue is and then tailoring solutions for them. And then being adaptable. Actually, the job market is hard and you need to be adaptable. You shouldn't be very strict or stringent. You should be open-minded. You should be curious. So you shouldn't just restrict yourself to one thing. Oh, I know how to do data analytics, so I'm okay. Or I learned maybe HR in school, so I'm okay. I won't learn social media marketing. Just be adaptable. And then learn to collaborate. Collaboration is very important. The truth is you cannot know it all. So when you know how to work with people and collaborate with them on tasks, projects, and all that, it goes a long way. So try and build these skills as well. I think I don't. So training hubs, and we have the NII. Data analytics, we have the ALX. ALX is a good place. Courses. And then networking. Networking is so important. Recently, I even networked my way to get. I didn't get the job though, but I networked my way into getting a conditional.
Hello, Geraldo. I think we've lost you again. I can see you're still in the call, but we can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So I was asking, how many of us on LinkedIn, and give me a reaction, thumbs up or something.
Or they could just raise their hands if they are, so that they could just know.
Yeah, exactly. So LinkedIn is so important when it comes to networking. And I'd want to say that the most important thing, your LinkedIn is one of the things recruiters will look for after your application. They would come and check your LinkedIn. So make sure that it's very professional. You have a professional picture there. You have in your bio what you do. That's a brief profile about you. The university you attended should be there. Start date, end date. What else? And then most importantly, if you volunteered, you can add all those sections, all the sections that you try and then fill them out, right? And so that's for LinkedIn. LinkedIn is important as much as possible to engage with people's posts, comment on trends, and then just connect with people in your industry. That's one way of networking, and it really comes back to you. So LinkedIn is so important. And then professional events. So you can decide to attend conferences and events. A webinar like this and I'm happy that some of us are here, most of us are here today. And job fairs. I don't know job fairs. It's also fair because most public universities do not do them. But I know University of Ghana, I think the careers and counseling session tend to do HSC does job fairs as well. Also ACT, Academic City University. And then cities in Accra. Actually, go there some and go and see what they are saying. When code outreach to recruiters and HR professionals who are there looking for your a cousin. I mean, just be strategic about it. And then alumni and referrals. I think referrals is also very important. Usually I wouldn't know much, but alumni and referrals would also come when it comes to you and people attending most of your alumni programs and all that. So that's also a way of networking. And then let's see job strategy. I know this is what you're looking out for. So when it comes to job search, I won't say there's no a one-size-fits-all approach. And usually, let's look at the first thing. We have job boards. So job boards are just places that usually post a lot of job information. The first one I'll say is Jobberman. Jobberman has like a lot of jobs every day. There are a number of jobs they are putting out there. So Jobberman is a good place to look out for jobs. Lane HR is a good place to look jobs. They're one of the biggest HR consultancy firm for companies. So you could check Lane HR, their LinkedIn and their website. They are always posting jobs. Also JobLinkrr. JobLinkrr is more active on LinkedIn. So you could check JobLinkrr as well. Remotely, where I work currently, also we recruit for companies in the UK, US, Canada. So you would work for these people through our office. So remotely is also a good one. I recommend you checking remotely as well, especially if you want proper international exposure, where you work directly with people in the US, work directly for companies in the US, Canada, Yeah, Remotely is a place. I know this one. I'm not doing adverts for Remotely, but yeah, Remotely is a good place. Check us out on LinkedIn and also our website remotely.com. There's also Jobs in Ghana. Jobs in Ghana is also on LinkedIn. And then really check companies' career pages. I don't know why most people don't check career pages. Go to companies' career pages. Some companies don't even post on their LinkedIn. They won't even post their job ads. You just go to their career pages, look out for the career section and see jobs that have been opened. Then just apply. Sometimes there may be no job opening at all, but you could also code reach. So you could just send a good worded cover letter with your resume and then letting them know that you are just expressing interest in this job opportunity. Anytime they search a job opportunity, you will be willing to have that conversation. So you could also code email recruiter. There doesn't have to be the opportunity for there to be a job opening. So that's also another strategy you could use. And then your CV is very, very, very important. I could spend 5 hours talking on CV because I've gone through a lot of CVs. And one thing I just want to say is that let your CV look good. One of the most common issues are space, and let your CV be properly spaced, let it be well aligned. Also, your professional summary should be very brief, straight to the point. Just all the respective details you need to know. So you put in your skills section there, and let it be relating to the job. And then let it also be something that is marketable. So some of these marketable skills, I want you to today, after this session, well, learn a thing or two because it would really help you. And yeah, your how do you call it? Your reference too. So reference, I always advise people to indicate available for upon request. The reason being that most companies would go and call your referee immediately you apply if you put their details there. But once you put it on available upon request, until you've had the conversations with them, attended interviews and all that, then now you can decide to give your referee out. So always, I just advise, always let your referee section be available upon request. And yeah, one thing also, one size fits all is not a good thing. So yes, you can have I call this thing your standard CV or your multi-purpose CV. Then based on the jobs you're applying for, now jobs use the ATS, applicant tracking system. So make sure you tweak the CV to match what the job description is looking for. You put in some specific keywords that they are looking out for, add it to your CV, and then hit send. You'd at least you would get the next stage to attend the interview. And then the interview part here really just asks a lot of questions when it's time to ask questions. Practice common interview questions. So when they ask you, tell me about yourself, there's this approach called a SEAT. So skills, experiences, accomplishments, and translation. So your skills, what are the skills you possess? The experience, what are the experience you are bringing to the room? What are some of the things you have achieved? And then for these three things, how are you going to translate them into the role you're applying for? So usually they would obviously ask you to tell me about yourself. So when you're able to use a SEAT approach, it makes it relatively easier for you. But anything else, interviews are just a two-way conversation. So if you do not know, don't try to know it. So you could just tell them, oh, I think one time I attended an interview, I didn't know the answer. What I told them was, that's a very interesting question. Myself, I've been trying to get a bit of answer to that. I haven't been able to. Would you mind sharing? Something like that. You have been honest. It paints you as a very honest, open-minded person. So if you do not know, you can obviously you won't say I don't know because that's a proper corporate language. So you just make it very demure, very mindful, and very cooperative. You just let them know that at this point in time you haven't researched much into that, but you did care sharing such information. And then I think one of the common mistakes I see people do is when they ask them, tell me about your weakness. Some people tell you that you don't have any weakness. As a human being, you're telling me you don't have weakness. And any question you're being asked is related to the job. So anything private or anything non-work environment where you don't add it to it. So anytime you're asked about your weakness, use a weakness that would that won't hurt you. So an example could be maybe you try to multitask a lot. You've over the years tried to find out that sometimes multitasking a lot makes you not do so much. So now you're trying to concentrate on things that are important. And yeah, so those are a way you could answer weaknesses. And then as much as possible, if you answer the weaknesses, just add how you are trying as much as possible to curb those things. Whether or not you've even put in, whether or not you've even started progressing to be able to resolve such issues or such weaknesses. I think I've spoken a lot when it comes to these three, but they are very, very important. The job search strategies are very important. And then, yeah, sometimes things don't go well, things will go down south and all that. That's like life would throw you a curveball. So if after doing all of this, it's difficult to get a job, there's nothing wrong with volunteering. If you decide to volunteer with an NGO, NGOs would really, really want you to put your skills to use, just that they don't have the money. So you could really volunteer with an NGO, build your skills from there. Then you just translate that skill into a good job. With that, now you even have things you've done that could add to your CV. So volunteering is important. Internships are also very important. If you're in school, trust me, every semester, make sure you do an internship somewhere. Although it might not be 100% enough for the corporate environment, it positions you as someone who is very serious. And if you are given the responsibility, you'll be able to do more. So most importantly, intern a lot. And then gig and remote work. I don't know, for me, I really, really cannot tell when it comes to the freelancing side, but I know some few people who have really made a lot from some of these sites like Upwork and Fiverr and TopTal. So you could search for some freelance gigs here and there. So you're able to get that. And then I also want you to know that remote jobs are also becoming a common thing. Most hiring firms in the US, UK are looking for talent across Africa. Yours is just to be able to develop your skills properly, be able to communicate impact, and then, yeah, be very active on LinkedIn because those are where the jobs are. And brush up your skills also when it comes to the remote work. So learn how to use some of the tools, Slack, Zoom, Trello, and then you'll be good to go. And this remote works, they pay in USD, so you want to brush up your skills a lot. And then personal branding. This is where we see settings. You see people doing settings on LinkedIn. They post professional pictures and then reword things in professional tone and they sound all serious and things like that. Yes, personal branding is so important. And the first thing I want you to know is to build an online presence, professional presence. So this is LinkedIn. You try as much as possible to, as I stated, what I've taken through when it comes to your profile. You have that done. And once in a while, you could decide to have a professional presence. So maybe you could start a challenge, a 2 weeks challenge. You could even just post from class what you learned today, maybe in FR class, financial reporting class, what you learned today. You just post it there with your picture, nice looking picture. Yeah, with time, professional presence grows with time. So obviously the first 2 months or 3 months, people will engage like that, but it's fine. And then you share thought leadership on topics you care about. So if people have made posts on their LinkedIn and all that, you can go and comment on it if you find it worthy, if you find it interesting. Just engage with them. And then you could also make your own post on leadership. So if you are someone who is looking at going into the HR space, you can make a lot of thought leadership posts on HR and all of that. It just makes you visible. You get it, because it's a way to also make you visible from the crowd. It's important that you do these things and then be consistent. You don't do today and then the next time we see you is 3 months. Because once you start, you have to ensure that you've grown the following to the point that even if you go for a year and you come back, people will still want to be in your present month. So then, if you are starting, you have to be very consistent. And then scams. So scam jobs are very, very, very funny, and they are also very, very prevalent. Although I've spoken a lot about LinkedIn, do not pay money to anybody for a job. And that's like a no-brainer. No serious company will tell you to pay money for them to post you or for them to invite you for an interview. So the moment you see something like that, or at any point in the recruitment process, you're asked to make money or payments, just know that this is a scam. And then most importantly, also cross-check recruiters, their emails, company names, use Google or LinkedIn to verify them. So as much as possible, try and verify who the recruiters are. Go to their LinkedIn profile, see whether they are working at the company they claim they are working at. And then one last thing I'd also want to say is to trust your gut. As much as possible, if your instinct, your gut tells you, this is fishy, something is wrong with this ad, yeah, or this rule, just trust it. Just trust yourself and don't bother yourself applying. If it's fishy, don't apply. And then one last thing too is some other way of knowing if a job is a scam is when the money is too good to be true. So if, let's say, an NGO, you've seen an ad, an NGO in Ghana, and saying that, oh, you should come as an executive assistant and they are going to pay you $5,000 a month. The CEO of that company, if he's being paid $5,000 a month, wouldn't he want it? So some of the things, if it's too good to be true, then it probably isn't true. So that's also one last thing I'm going to add to it. And upskill or reskill, this is very, very important. Regardless, you need to ensure that you're building on your skills. Whatever got you here won't get you there or won't get you up there. So whatever got you this job won't get you the next one. And you need to upskill yourself. You need to learn a lot. There's automation, there's AI, there are a lot. Data analytics is there. Just be curious. Just learn as much as you can, and it'll make it very, very easy for you. Most of the time, most of the people that I have helped to work on their CVs, most of them, they got their job because they had multiple skills. So a friend got a job with Bank of Ghana recently, and what made her get the job wasn't because she was good at accounting. It's a nice to have. What made her get a job was because she had developed her skills in terms of web development. She had gone for one of these fellowships like that with West Africa, and then she learned how to become a web developer in like 6 months. She added it to her skills. She had like a portfolio and all that. Although she was applying for an accounting role at the Bank of Ghana, that web developing thing was a distinguishing factor because, oh, you have someone who is also tech inclined, and they brought her in. So upskilling, reskilling is important. What got you here won't get you there. And then play the long game. Job search is very hard. Sometimes you might tick the boxes. You would do everything, design your CV, make it ATS optimized, all of that, and it still won't go well. I just want you to know that that is fine. You would always face rejection, and it's okay. Sometimes the competition is very hard. You might think, oh, your CV meets the expectation, but the number of people applying, someone has a master's, double master's, triple master's, and probably just have a degree, and you're going to compare with such a person. The person has 8 years experience. Although you match the job, sometimes the competition is very hard. So don't beat yourself to it. It's a marathon. Job search is a marathon, not sprint. So as much as possible, yeah. And when you're in the job search phase, I want you to create a sheet or a tracker where for every job you had shared, you had applied to, you list them, and then, yeah, if there was a CV you used to apply it, probably put a link there, and then the time in which you applied. It really helps when people are calling or recruiters are calling you, able to know which CV you applied to, especially if you are the type who is always tweaking your CV to suit the job. It would really help you. So you could design a tracker to track your application process. And then expect delay. Sometimes it's not recruiters' fault. The people would have to confirm that the interview should come on. Never happened. So my friend who got the offer with BOG, she had applied as last year, October. And then they called her recently, that's I think somewhere around February. So the delays always happen, but don't let it get to you. And then recruiters also ghost. It's not something I personally enjoy, but the game is a game. So when some of these things happen, I know it's quite hard, but yeah, don't take it personally. And then most importantly, stay proactive and consistent. If one employer tells you you're not a good fit, apply to the next. Keep applying. And then most importantly, keep retweaking. And then if you get the opportunity to ask recruiters what went wrong with your application, why they're not progressing with it, you could always ask them for feedback. They won't give you, but the few who would give you, you could use that to your advantage. So always stay proactive and consistent. And then I think I've spoken much on all of these things. The job market is unfair at this point in time. I'm in the industry and I know what it feels like. But when you put in all these things I've discussed, and most importantly, if you're someone who is a faith-based person, then whatever faith you believe into, you could also look at that as well, pray and all that, and then you'll be fine. So I'd want you to keep learning, stay connected, and more important, don't be afraid to reinvent yourself. If you are doing accounting now, you feel like, Charlie, there's money in AI engineering, and you want to go to AI engineering, go. So do not be afraid to reinvent yourself. You're still too young. And then whatever I learned in school doesn't mean that's what you do in industry or in practice. So that'll be all for now. And I want you to know you've caught this. Thank you. If you have questions, kindly ask. Christopher, I'm done with my presentation. If you have questions, if anyone has questions, really, you can ask.
Thank you, Mr. William, for your presentation. It's been very insightful, very informing. So I have a couple of questions. Okay. My first question is, how do you set or create the tracker or sheet for the various jobs that you apply for? That's the first question. And my second question is, when you apply for a job, okay, and probably maybe you send a cover letter or maybe your CV, and after a couple of days, weeks, get into months, you don't hear anything. Is it right to like send a follow-up, or maybe please, what's going on? I've not heard anything. Do you think it's a right procedure to go on with? Yes. And also, if you have any questions, please unmute yourself and ask after these questions have been answered. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Hilary. So with the tracker, usually I'll suggest you use a spreadsheet or Excel. So if you have Excel, you just create various columns. I think I have something. I don't have something similar, but just create a spreadsheet. Then the jobs you apply for. So maybe one column indicate jobs applied for. Then the date you applied. Then the decision, whether they've denied you or not. You put decision there. And then maybe the last one could be maybe the CVs you used. So you could put a link there to your CV in Google Drive. So when they call you, you know that, oh, I had applied to this job with that CV. It makes it easier to prepare for the interview. And then the second question you asked was on whether or not to follow up when you do not get a call back, especially after you've applied. So usually when you apply for a job, some jobs tell you that if you not hear from us in, let's say, a month, consider your application unsuccessful. So if there is that clause there, then nobody else of reaching out because they've already told you. But if nothing like that was indicated, I'd say standard procedure, give them 2 weeks. If 2 weeks they do not call you, then just send a small nudge. Oh, you just want to find out your application, how you just want to follow up on your application, and then really want to re-emphasize the fact that you would want to progress further with them, and then why you're a good fit for the role. So you can always put in how do you call it? You can always ask them when you've applied. So if that clause isn't there, you should always seek for feedback. And I think the last one, can you kindly let me know the last question you asked?
It was just 2 questions, so you've answered it.
Oh, all right.
Yes,
so
please, you have.
Thank you, Hilary.
So yeah, you said that you can ask the questions, but then it depends on how you go about the questions, right? And yeah, most of the jobs to tell you that you have to they give you like a duration. If after 1 month you've not heard from me, then that means you know that they are not getting the job. So it all depends on how you get back to them or ask your questions, if that's what you actually, that's like what you said, if I got it right.
Exactly. So just be professional about it, and then ChatGPT is there really. So if you are done writing, just push it to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to reword it in a professional tone for you. You are sending it to a recruiter, following up with a recruiter. ChatGPT will give you a nice response.
All right, thank you. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand and then we address your questions. So the floor is open to any questions.
Well, if you can't also, if you don't want to be heard, you can also put your questions in the chat. I think Sebastian, kindly unmute and ask a question.
Yeah, hello. So my question is, I think most of the time when we join webinars like this, we kind of hear what we are supposed to do with regards to your CV, interview etiquette, and things like that. So the question now is, I want to know, like, from the recruiter's like point of view, immediately the CVs and the cover letters get dropped into your email or your job recruitment site. What's the process like on your end? How do you sort out the CVs? What are the key things you are looking at? What are the like certain things about people's email or things like that recruiters find it like disgusting and be like they throw your CVs aside? Like kind of a breakdown of that perspective.
Yeah.
All right. This question. All right. So I'd answer. You want to very demure or you want to solid? Yes, but I think I would go nice. I would go nice. So I would go nice. But the thing that really happens back end for my company, we use the ATS. That we have AI and all that added to our recruitment process. So you just apply to our website, then the ATS sorts it out. That's why I was saying that as much as possible, always look at the job description, put in the required keywords that they are looking for. So if your CV comes through, so I'm using my company for example. So if immediately we open a job and we apply on our website, it goes to the ATS, and the ATS will sort out and then pick out those we think or those 8 things are a good fit. So let's say maybe there's an opening for an account officer. People have applied. The ATS would now track and then listen, give us the best 20 people based on the keywords from the job description and based on the keywords from their CV. So if there's a lot of match, it picks out these people and then pushes it to us. And then the other people that it doesn't see their CV to be a good fit, it drops them down. Then we just send a reject email to them that were unsuccessful. So that's even the first stage. And then now when it sends your CV to us, when it shortlists the CV to us, then we, the people behind the scene, will now take a look, go through your CV itself directly. And usually it takes like 5 seconds for a recruiter to scan your CV. Then the best thing is that your CV should look very appealing. By appealing, I don't mean putting in colors and all that, rainbow colors and things. You are not looking at that. Make sure your CV looks very professional. So use black and white, use gray, use blue, black, something, but it should look very professional. I'm coming. I just want to share a sample of a CV I did for someone so that you understand exactly what I'm talking about. Kindly give me 1 minute. I'm trying to find that CV so that it would make my explanation more easier. It will make.
Okay, so while we wait for Geraldo to get sorted with the CV, I would put in the chat the event feedback form for everyone who attended the event to give us their feedback on how the event um, went. Right, you could still want to take some few minutes to work it out, or maybe wait for your question to be answered before you fill, because maybe because of that question, that's why you came. So it will be in the chat till we end. But it says we'll be ending very soon. I'm still going to drop it in the chat anyway. Those who already can fill, but if you still want to wait to we say bye, then you can still do that. Okay.
All right, I'm still trying to search. Oh, today, yeah, it looks like whatever is trying to get me to get the resources for you, I'm still having difficult. Can you give me 2 minutes? If in 2 minutes I still do not get it, then I'll just go ahead to share exactly that.
Okay, so whilst we wait for you to share that, I think Christabel had a question. I think she raised her hand. So if maybe hers would be something you could
Yes,
still be
please.
addressing whilst, yeah. So, Christabel, take it away.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to ask if um I decide, for example, to build a professional presence online, should it only be on LinkedIn? And if um it's possible for me to build a professional presence on other social media platforms, can I add it to my CV or my resume? Because I know now um it's required that you add your LinkedIn um profile to your CV. So other than LinkedIn, can we add other social media platforms to our CVs? Thank you.
All right. Geraldo, will you take that, or you want additional questions to come so that I take that at once? Can you hear me, Geraldo?
Just restrict yourself to your LinkedIn, since that's a more professional space, and you wouldn't want people to be trying much into your personal space. And then the funny thing is, myself, I do not have my LinkedIn, whatever, on my CV. But anytime I apply for a job, they try as much to find a way to come looking for my LinkedIn. I think there was one like that with KPMG. They gave the offer to someone else, and then there was like one like that with EY. They all came looking for my LinkedIn profile, although that wasn't included in my CV. So one way or the other, they will still look out for you, or they'll still search for you anyway. Yes, I've seen the CV, so I'm going ahead to share it.
Awesome.
Yes. So this was a CV
Okay, I don't know.
recently.
I don't know.
Can you see now? Sorry. Can you see my
Yes,
CV?
I can see. I don't know if others.
All right. If you can see, then others can. So this is a good CV, neatly done, career summary, skills, everything is well aligned, education, all of that, reference available on request. So your CV should look something. I'm not saying exactly like this, but it should be readable. It should be something that when someone picks it, they feel like you are making a lot of sense. And it should be something that would make the recruiter want to read it, because they consider this person a serious person if they had put in time to make
Others are
this
saying
way.
they can't see. Others, can you confirm if you can see? Maybe raise your hand, thumbs up or something. Oh, don't worry. I would have him share all these resources with you. So don't worry. Yeah, so others can see. So maybe you are just having network issues. Okay, thank you for the feedback, guys. And I think I also wanted to clarify this, that you see, when it comes to the job market, right, your experience in the industry most of the time determines how long your CV is going to be. So it's, if you're an entry level, usually I know they recommend that you should have a one-page CV. Like, how true is this? I know there are people who could just be entry level, but they could have like a lot they could put on their CV. And I also remember you said you should prioritize like what is actually needed for the job. So it could be that you've done a lot of stuff, but for this job, you could actually get a one-page CV by taking some things out. So I would also want your input on that, Geraldo.
Yes, usually for entry levels, as you've indicated, 1 to 2 pages is enough, because you've not really done much. So as much as possible, just restrict everything you've done to, let's say, 4 responsibilities.
Okay. Uh,
William, I think I have a little concern in regards to the answer you gave to Christabel's question. I don't know if he was really okay with it, but I wasn't really okay with it. So she asked if you can place your socials on your CV
LinkedIn,
and
CV.
aside
Yes, I
LinkedIn,
did. I
other
did.
socials as well. Yeah. Well, I
Yes,
didn't
so
hear
I
that
did
part. So if
respond.
you could hear.
Geraldo, can you hear me?
add it if you want to. Myself, I don't. Anyone hear me? Can anyone hear me?
I think I can hear you. I think you dropped off. So I think, can you take the response to the question again?
Yes.
Yeah.
When Hillary says on, yes. So I was saying for CVs, you can add the LinkedIn to it, but for other social media platforms you're on, I don't really advise, unless maybe it's for, let's say, a social media marketing. Yourself, I wouldn't add my social media to my CV because I think it's more of my personal space and I wouldn't want recruiters invading them. But finally, one or the other, they still come looking out for me on all these social media platforms.
Okay, I think it makes sense. So I think one thing we should take away is that, look, whether you put it there or not, they will just find a way to look at your social media stuff, right? So if you are concerned about that, then you should also be concerned about like the kind of things you put there in the first place. If if you feel you put something there and then a recruiter or others would see it and then to be a problem, then you have to think twice, because right now your social media is you. So whether you give your social media profile link out or not, people also find a way to see it anyway. Or maybe, unless maybe it's a private account or something. But yes, all the same, you just have to be a bit not a bit, you just have to be careful, yes, of and very mindful of your social media and how you use it and kind of things you put out there, because those things are you, whether you like it or not. I know people say that your social media is different from you, but I don't believe that. Your social media is just you, like you in the digital form. So you have to be cautious of whatever you put there. Okay. Well, I have one question.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So my question is, you see, usually when it comes to entry level, there's this, there's this dilemma of you not looking at the pay and then also experience. Others go like, oh, just focus on the experience. Don't really care so much about the pay. If they're just paying you something small, don't worry. As a recruiter, what's your take on that?
As a recruiter, I would say the skill versus money debate. Always, if you are entry level, they are not going to pay you well. That's the truth. They are going to pay you standard entry level pay. Currently, I think the standard entry level pay is around 2,500 to 5,000, depending on the good companies you get. So you should also be looking for, sorry to say, don't go for the quieting
I'm
companies.
going. Did you just say 2,000, 2,500? No, like, is it like the average, or like is it
companies,
industry
you'll be
specific?
paid net, yes, net, average net. That's like
Oh, okay.
general industry average 2,500. Yes. So if you're getting smaller, don't take below 2,500. That's just that. And there are also good companies that even start the entry levels good. I think Newmont Target starts the entry level at 12,000. So they are also very good companies. You just need to scout. That's why I said the information. The information bit is very important. Where and how. Once you know the where and how, it makes it relatively easier for you. So the experience bit is important, and really it also depends on you, the individual. Would you want the experience or would you want the money? And sometimes, so why not both? Some companies give you both. They give you the experience and then the money. So if wherever you're going to, it's not going to give you that, you'd have to weigh your options. Is it money you're looking for, experience? Then you make that decision. But if you are getting my unsolicited opinion, I would say always look at the bright side of life. Look out for the experience, and then based on experience, you would get the money. Trust me, you get the money. You get the money if you have the experience, because people will now start coming to you, and then you will charge. You will charge a lot. And yeah, there's been instances people have told me, oh, we cannot pay you. We cannot pay you because we think you are earning so much. So at the end of the day, really look at experience. Then once you gather the experience, you can call the shots. You can tell them, no, this is chicken money. I'm not taking it.
Okay. Well, you have your opinion, but for me, I would only be okay with anything if like it's if it's like a top-notch company, a company that other recruiters will have respect for, especially if you've worked there before. that is when you can do that. But sometimes you shouldn't always be like you want experience, so you just they're just going to pay you something so small, like you just take it, right? Like there should be something, there should be like a minimum something you should expect to take. Like if you don't get that, yeah, maybe unless it's
Exactly.
national service, then you can do whatever you want. That's why sometimes you don't have the if you don't get to go to like a private company, or sometimes it tends to be a bit difficult. Yeah, so maybe some of these things may
Exactly.
not be
And do you know
applicable
the
with national
irony?
service, but
The irony here too is that the very good companies pay well. So I mean, okay, there could be some few good companies that don't pay, but generally the very good companies also, would also pay you very well. And then, as I stated, the encroaching ones that we do not know of, or that are struggling some way somehow, they tend to pay you minimal, and then they'll gaslight you into thinking, oh, we are doing you a favor, so you should just be here. At the end of the day, it really depends on what you want. So as I stated, be very strategic. Look out for the very good companies that pay well, and then yeah, just be friends of the recruiters. Then all that, get information. Once the applications are out, you apply, and you'll be good to go. So just be strategic. Go for the big ones. I can name some few good companies. So MTN Ghana is there. Newmont is there. Anglo Gold Ashanti. Um, there are some very good companies. My company too is there, remotely. That in fact there are lots, but these are like very few ones that I know pay well. VRA too is the Bank of Ghana, the Bank Hospital. There are lots, a lot of companies that pay very well. You also just to search for those information and then strategy, eh? A strategy, and then you get it.
okay. So please kindly fill the feedback form for us if you haven't. Um, in the absence of um, uh, questions or clarifications, Hilary, if you could kindly um, close us. Um, oh, okay. There's a question from Bridget. Bridget, you can unmute and
Please, unfortunately, some of us couldn't join early enough because we had lectures. So I want to know if there is a call for no one's having it. And as a
okay. Well, I'm struggling to hear you, but I think you were asking about the recording, right? Yes, we'll get it recorded, and sorry, it's recorded, and then you will have the recording, um, like very soon. Yes. So for that, I can promise you that it's been recorded, so you can get the recording after. Yeah.
It's it's gone. Okay, he's back. All right.
Okay. So Hilary, I think we are good to go.
All right. I think we don't have any question. Yeah. So without further ado, thank you so much, William Geraldo De-lima, for this insightful session, practical tips, and what have you. For um for those who attended as well, attendees more like it. I hope you are leaving with fresh insights, practical tips, and a little more clarity on your next steps. Remember, the job market can be challenging, but I'm sure with these insights we see from William, we would be able to thrive over some of these challenges. Until next time, take care of yourself and all the best. Good evening.
Breaking.
Oh yeah, we are done, so we can go.
I don't know if anyone can hear me though. Okay, okay. I think we're done. Thank you so much.